Atler. They're building a tool called Earner, which is helping accountants serve SMBs faster. They've got between 1,000 and 10,000 registrations, and they convert 20 to 50% of registrations to paid customers at $35 a month. So north of 20,000 bucks in revenue today. They just launched last year, so healthy growth. They've only raised what the accelerator, or sorry, under $1 million, right? So pretty capital efficient. Team of 10 today with 5 engineers as they look to continue to scale. Hey, folks, my guest today is Enzo Ons. He's the co-founder and CEO of Earner, the robo-accountancy for small businesses. He's a recovering management consultant, a Deliveroo writer, and former chief of staff at Loot, Bow, and Metal. I'm sure I butchered that name. Enzo, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, let's go.
Come on, give me the real. How do you pronounce that?
All the different challenger bank names.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did perfect. Bow, metal, and loot.
Ah, okay, I nailed it. Very good. All right. So tell us what Earner is, and why SMBs. SMBs go out of business all the time, so your churn is going to be an issue.
Yes, it's a growing kind of part of the business markets. Like a lot of people are turning to self-employed income as well as starting small businesses after the pandemic. The kind of trends are your gig economy, your passion economy, and your sharing economy. And what does Earner really do? So what we've seen is that a lot of these people still use accountants. They're very, very expensive. Why can't you have software that does the work of an accountant for you for a fraction of the cost?
And so, how do you model this? And what's the average customer pay you per month, would you say?
So a traditional accountant for most users costs anywhere between 500 to 1,000 if you're a sole trader, and up to £1,000 if you're a small business. We charge them subscription-wise, £30 if you're a sole trader, and then limited companies anywhere between 50 and 100 a month.
What do you mean sole trader? Do you have a lot of traders who use you, stock market people?
So sole trader is the British term for someone that's self-employed.
Ah, I see. Okay, but it's about 35 United States dollars per month on average.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Okay, put this on a timeline for me. When did you launch the business?
So we first launched the business in 2021.
Okay.
And then we kind of went through one tax return season at the end of the year in 2021. So in the UK every January, and now going into our second tax return season.
That's awesome. How did you get your first customer?
Our first customer was through a small business community called Mindful Markets.
Mindful Markets.
Yeah, exactly. So during the pandemic, a lot of markets that were first in person turned online. So a lot of new businesses propped up that helped people move from an in-person marketplace to online. So they were doing Zoom calls, and that's kind of how we got our first customers.
Yeah, but was that like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group, or how did you find this group?
It was initially we found the person that ran it through a Facebook group, and then we started doing calls with them over Zoom, helping them with their taxes, and then they were the first customers that then started using the app.
It's amazing. And sorry, what was the name again?
Mindful Market.
Mindful Market. Very interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
and then fast forward to today. How many customers are you working with?
So we now have thousands of customers. We don't like to disclose the exact amount because we're still quite early, but we're doing pretty well.
But is it fair to say like between 1,000 and 2,000, something like that?
Between 1,000 and 10,000.
Oh, okay, 1,000 and 10,000. Very cool. Now that's not easy to go from 1,000 or nothing to over 1,000 customers in under a year and a half. So how did you do that? How are you growing today?
It's a bit of a mix. So our most effective channels is when the need is highest, which is during tax return season and is classic performance marketing. Something to keep in mind is that your average retention when it comes to accountant is 10 years. And on a product that you pay anywhere between 30 to £100 a month for, we can be quite effective when it comes to performance marketing during tax return season. Outside, we just use a collection of referrals and SEO that works best.
What do you consider effective during tax season on your paid marketing, right? Or what are you willing to spend to get a new $35 a month customer?
Yeah, so coming from a challenger banking background, the average there that we had was anywhere between 100 and 200 pounds, or in dollar terms, like 120 to $250. If we can acquire somebody for less than 100, that's already really effective because the payback period is so short. We've seen stuff way lower than that. So anything less than $20.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here, and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. What enables you to do that? That's not cheap. I mean, as you know, in the challenger and bank world, people are willing to spend a lot to get a new customer. So have you found like a unique keyword you're targeting with paid, or you're doing like TikTok ads where there's not a lot of competition for yet? But why can you get under $100 CAC?
I think it is TikTok that we've used, exactly like you said. I think what really worked well for us were personable ads. So kind of talking in the camera, kind of saying, hey, we're this new app. It's really amazing. You should try and check it out. We built
No, but come on,
trust
Enzo. That's very boring. What do you actually say?
I think that is literally what we say. It's
no, come on. If I saw that on TikTok, I'm skipping it immediately. There's no way that's converting me.
Well, you're also not our target audience. Like most of our customers are women. Most of our customers are kind of people that like Etsy sellers, gig workers. It's literally a simple. The thing that did the best was just talking into the camera while you're walking somewhere and be like talking like a normal human being, saying, you know, this kind of stuff is really hard. I found a tool that works really well. You should try and download it and check us out. That's kind of as simple as it was.
Is this right now considered tax season?
No, not yet. For us, it's December and January.
So give me a sense of like what you'll scale to in terms of paid spend. Are you talking like you're spending 10 grand a month on paid, or like $1 million per month on paid?
No, way less than that. We last tax return season, I think the highest we went is maybe $2,000 a week.
Okay. Got it.
But never higher than that.
Yeah. Okay, so call it like you'll cap maybe at like 10K per month in paid, but that was last year. Maybe exactly. This year you double it. Who knows?
I think for us, it's really about the payback ratio. If we get enough customers to go directly to our monthly subscription, then why not?
Now, when you look at the cohort you signed up exactly 1 year ago, and folks, we're recording this November 2nd here. If you go back and look at the cohort, Enzo, from last December, how many of them are still paying today? Like, what's your churn look like?
I think it's quite sticky. So most of our customers are still paying after 1 year.
Do you use any tools to measure this? I mean, net dollar retention is the name of the game in this world, right? If you can have above 100%, that's really fantastic, especially at this price point.
We kind of track monthly active usage. Like we use platforms like PostHog that works quite well for us to track that. But most of our payments kind of done through Stripe, so it's quite easy for us to measure that as well there.
Well, yeah. So when you look at this in Stripe, I mean, are you guys above 100% net dollar retention year over year?
We're not actively measuring all the dollar retention figures. Like we're focusing more on just kind of what we built so far. We're looking a lot more into monthly active users and what different features within our app our customers use. Revenue is obviously an important metric of that, but it's not the thing that I look at every single day.
Well, let me paint a picture for you, right? If you spend $100 on a TikTok ad to get a $35 a month user and they cancel after the second month, you only made $70, so you're losing money. How do you know if you're losing money or making money if you're not tracking retention?
I'm tracking retention in terms of monthly active usage. I'm tracking retention in terms of, because we're talking about this subscription, but we're not only just a subscription business. We also have a freemium business model that people move onto subscription. So what I really care about is how many of these users are using our app every single month, and looking at that in terms of churn. If somebody churns after month 2 without ever having touched the app, I wonder whether the problem is because we didn't do the service right, the product wasn't right. I'm looking more into kind of the same kind of strategy that the guys from Superhuman did. Look at the customers that would be really sad if you would no longer exist. What are you getting right? And how can I replicate for those customers that aren't getting that value into the same scenario as them? That's how I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at total figures yet.
Just to be clear though, when you're spending $100 on paid, that's $100 to get a new paid customer, not a new free trial, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I guess that's what I'm a little bit confused about though, right? So how do you know if your paid marketing spend is worth it or not? How do you know if users stay long enough for you to make your payback period back? If your payback period is 3 months, but they churn after 2 months, you lose money.
Yeah, that's correct. But we don't yet. It's not something that we're currently just focusing on. We're focusing more on monthly active usage. Revenue is important. Churn is important.
Okay, let's focus on what you're focused on. I'll stop trying to push you to think about something you're not thinking about. So monthly active user, what is it? How do you define a monthly active user?
Somebody that logs into the app once a month.
Okay, but isn't that like a sort of a fake way to do it? Anyone can log in. Don't you want to know if they actually like got value from it, not just sort of like log in?
Yes, of course. But I mean, define value. Like for example, there's some people that log into the app. The only thing that they really look at is what their tax estimate did for that year, and then we don't see them for another month.
Okay, there you go. So that's what you're tracking. Did they log in and view that particular report, and then that's active?
No, because that's one of the features that we have. The other one is people can see how much income they've made in the app. But the other one is people can see what their profit margin is in the app. We also have a feature that allows people to see short videos explaining key tax terms. Like I'm not looking at, somebody has done a specific feature. I can look at, there's different reasons why they log in. The total picture is what I see as monthly active users. We don't really see users that just open the app and then immediately log off again every single month.
That's why I'm asking, right? There's a bunch of, this is our 3,280th episode, right? And plenty of people come on and say, we have 1 million monthly active users.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're bankrupt because they consider an active user someone who like touched the app one time in a month. They didn't actually log in and watch a training video or view their profit and loss statement or look at their tax planning. So what I was trying to learn from you is, what are those key activation things you want people looking at every month? And if they do that, they're going to pay you eventually.
The key activations isn't really about monthly active users. The key activation that we've seen is, does somebody trust us to connect their bank account in the app? So kind of how we automate it is we get access to transaction data, and that kind of powers the rest of the features. That is our key activation metric. How many people put in their national insurance number or the social security number for the US? Like, those are the key things that lead people to move to the paid part of the app rather than the usage of certain
I would
features.
say those are two very, 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 very strong signals if you can make those happen. Yeah. So what have you tested? I imagine it's not easy to convince people to connect their bank off a TikTok ad.
More than you think. So around 1/5 of our customers connect their bank account straight when they download the app.
That's huge. 20% are connected. So if you sign up, I'm making this up, 1,000 people last month, you're saying 200 of them will connect their bank right away, first session. Wow.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I mean, in the UK, it's maybe slightly different than the US, where there's a lot of regulation around open banking, as they call it. So it's not like give us your login codes to your Chase bank. It doesn't work like that.
No, you're using Plaid or Salt Edge or Rails or Codat or one of these.
Exactly. And that's kind of people are getting more and more used to that. And this pain point is high, right? Like people really don't want to spend any time on tax. So if all I have to do is connect my bank account, you can help me with that. Great, they're willing to do that. And then that kind of goes up significantly after they log into the app. So some people choose not to connect to the app, but then a lot of the features don't work. So they kind of play around with this, realize, okay, this is not just a random company. It's a lot more legitimate than that. And then they connect their app later on, their bank account later on.
So before I go back and get more of the origin story here, because you have a background in this space that I want to capture, when you look at monthly active users today, what is it, and what do you want to hit by the end of the year or end of next year?
We've kind of focused a lot on growth recently. What I really try and focus on now is retention. So in terms of percentage, I want to make sure that our customers, anywhere between 60 to 70% are monthly active users. So I'm looking at kind of how can I make them come back to the app? How can I make them get value out of the app? So in terms of total numbers, I don't really care about that as much over the next 18 months.
Well, sure, but you could have 10 users that log on and 6 log in every month, and that hits your MAU goal, but that's not a viable business long term.
Yeah, okay, but you already know that we're not 10 users. So I think I have a big enough data set now to look at actual trends and not statistic anomalies. And once I've hit a certain kind of retention point, and we've already tested certain acquisition channels that seem to work for us, I can put more money into acquisition channel that leads to exactly like you said, not people that come in, pay for 2 months, and then never come back.
Yep. So how many new installs do you think you'll get here in November?
That depends. It depends on how much money we're going to spend. At the moment, we're not spending any money on anything in terms of acquisition.
Well, I assume you'll still get users, even if you don't. You can only get users if you pay for them.
No. We get users when
So Enzo, how many folks will sign up? How many folks will sign up for Earner here in November? I'm just trying to get a sense of if you're signing up thousands per month, or hundreds per month, or millions per month.
Oh, no. Outside tax season is hundreds.
Hundreds. Okay, got it. And then tax season, you spike.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Very, very cool. All right, let's get more of the story here. So you launched this thing in 2021. Sole founder, or you have co-founders?
I have a co-founder, Anil.
How'd you guys meet? Who does what? Are you the CTO or business guy, or how do you split it?
He's CTO. I'm a business guy. We met on an accelerator program called Antler. It's kind of putting 80 people in a room and say, go find a partner and build a business.
That's amazing. Is this sort of typical sort of YC 7% for 125K sort of deal?
Yeah, basically. I think that the things that we have here is a thing called Entrepreneur First. Antler, they're also in the US. They started out in Singapore.
But they will write a check, right? You're not just having to give them a bunch of equity for nothing, right?
Yeah, they'll write a check. Yeah. I think their standard terms, it depends on the location, but it's anywhere between 100 and 150 for somewhere close to 10%.
Yep. So have you guys stayed relatively sort of efficient in terms of bootstrapping, or did you guys just sort of go raise a bunch right out of the gate?
No, we stayed quite efficient. We've raised less than $1 million so far. I'm originally from Holland. We're all very frugal over there. So
that's awesome. And what's the team size today? How many folks full time?
There's 10 of us at the moment.
10. Very interesting. And what's your focus? I mean, at some point you said you have between 1,000 and 10,000 folks already installed. I don't know how many total accountants there are in the world, but eventually you get all of them. And then it's sort of like you either have to launch into a new market or focus on ARPU increases in that base. And that's how you're going to drive growth. How do you think about that?
We're thinking more of initial geographic expansion. So we're just in the UK at the moment. We think the US is a really interesting market when it comes to accounting and tax, probably even way more complicated than it is here. And the fact that everybody has to do a tax return there, where here it's mainly still small businesses, is a very interesting opportunity. The other thing is that accounting kind of cuts through a lot of the different costs of a small business. We can see what kind of insurance you have. We can see what kind of loans you have. We can see what other services you use as part of managing your business. I think there is a really interesting play here in starting to increase the type of services you offer to a small business as part of that. and
Yeah.
package it
So
all
just to be
together.
clear, again, if you have and when you told me 1,000 to 10,000, that's users or paid folks that have converted to paid.
Those are users at the moment.
User. Okay, got it. That's obviously very different than how many have converted to paid. So,
Mm.
so but point being though, even in the free trial, they can connect their bank account to get value even before they start paying you, right?
So the way it works is you can connect your bank account and get some value, but it doesn't really do anything. Like it just gives you an overview of, okay, great, these are transactions that I have in my bank accounts. That's not
Okay.
really necessarily the accounting elements of it.
Okay. So for someone to really get value out of connecting a bank account to Earner, they also need to be paying you sort of 30, $40 a month. Then they really
Yeah,
unlock
yeah,
some value.
exactly. Yeah, you can't do any tax returns. You can't do like the majority of the app
I
unless you
see.
are actually paying users.
I see. And then most apps that are sort of at this price point are very happy with like a 3 to 7% conversion rate from free to paid. Are you sort of in that range and are you happy with that range?
No. We're way higher than that.
Okay.
Like I think when it comes to, like I said, acquisition costs in fintechs are so high. I think you need to have anywhere between 20 and 50% for this to be a sustainable business model.
Yeah. Okay. So it's fair to say you're sort of somewhere between 20 and 50%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we could say you have something between like 500 and 5,000 paid accounts on the platform today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You obviously are sitting on a data gold mine with bank accounts connected, right? So if an accountant connects their bank to you, you can see everything they spend money on, every way they make money. How are you using that data to invent new products for accountants or think about your product roadmap for accountants?
The way that we're looking at it is kind of twofold. So one is what kind of things does an accountant use at the moment, and that actually has nothing to do with their payment data. It's literally what kind of reporting, some stuff like payroll, VAT, aka sales tax, income tax. In terms of what's more interesting in terms of the bank data is really understanding how these people earn income, what kind of expenses do they have, what kind of other products as a small business are they paying for, and how could we potentially in the future help them optimize for that.
Yep, that makes sense. And then I guess before we wrap up here, what's your team look like today? How many folks are full time? Sorry, you said 10. You already said 10. How many of
I
those
said
folks are
10.
engineers?
4, 5,
Okay, four. So
5.
pretty heavy engineering. Very cool. All right, very good stuff. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Uh, Thank you for taking the time for grilling me.
Yeah, no, of course.
Appreciate
I
it.
mean, look, congrats on what you've built. I mean, from my math on the low end, if you've got at least 500 paid accounts at $35 a month, you guys are past 20K a month in MRR at this point. For which means for this kind, I mean, and for this kind of app, that's pretty impressive. On the high end, if you've got 5,000 paid accounts at $35 a month, that's obviously even faster growth. I think that puts you at like 150 grand a month in revenue. So congrats on your growth.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, famous five here. We're gonna wrap up. Number one, favorite book.
Shoe Dog.
And number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I went to talk to Louis van Aan yesterday, which I thought was great.
CEO of which company?
Duolingo.
Ah, very good. Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building Earner?
Post Hog. Thanks, great.
Are you saying hog, Hog, or hawk, like a bird?
Hog, Hog.
Hog. Okay. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
7.
And situation, married, single, kids?
I have a partner.
Okay. Any kids?
No kids yet.
No kids yet. All right. And how old are you?
I'm 31.
31. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
It's okay to take a risk.
Guys, there you have it. He met his co-founder at Atler. They're building a tool called Earner, which is helping accountants serve SMBs faster. They've got between 1,000 and 10,000 registrations, and they convert 20 to 50% of registrations to paid customers at $35 a month. So north of $20,000 in revenue today. They just launched last year, so healthy growth. They've only raised what the accelerator, under $1 million, right? So pretty capital efficient. Team of 10 today with 5 engineers as they look to continue to scale.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.